Hey, welcome to Physionic, where we learn about the body from the macro to the micro. If you're interested, consider subscribing. So last week we talked about how the ketogenic diet has some interesting facets about it when it comes to weight loss and fat loss, and how we have to distinguish between those two, because the ketogenic diet seems to lead to greater weight loss initially, but less fat loss initially, which is a really confusing phenomenon. What's going on there? Well, that question is going to be answered in this video. We're going to understand the physiology of what's going on between the differences between the ketogenic diet and just really any other diet that uses carbohydrates. So with that said, in a short, sweet, science-based video, let's jump right into it. Shockingly, although the outcome was the same between diets, traditional carbohydrate inclusive versus ketogenic, with the same level of weight loss and fat loss after a month or more, there's an interesting phenomenon in which the ketogenic diet leads to greater weight loss in the first weeks, yet less fat loss in those same first weeks. The irony is that people believe that they are losing more fat with this rapid drop in weight, yet the science disagrees, as initial weight loss is substantially less fat loss than what makes up the slower weight loss seen in a traditional nutrition protocol. So, we also divulged that this initial period sees substantially more water loss. So what's going on here? What tricks is the body playing? It comes down to the fact that prior to a switching to fat metabolism, the cells will use the remaining glucose in the system, presumably in hopes you'll eat some carbohydrates at some point in the next few days. But regardless of the motive, the cells begin to do two things. One, they begin to undergo glycogenolysis and break down their glycogen, or stated differently, stored glucose, for as long as they can. As glycogen levels deplete, water is released as water is used in the storage of glucose, likely to maintain osmolality. Of course, since no glucose is coming into the cells, the depletion is much quicker than in a traditional diet, in which some, although less than necessary, carbohydrate is incoming. The other primary factor is the release of glucose from the liver, as the body must maintain blood glucose levels up to a point. The liver will not only undergo glycogenolysis and use glucose, but will, via a variety of processes, release glucose into the bloodstream. So, this suck of glucose, because the spigot, your mouth, isn't supplying any resources, is rapid, pulling glucose out and through the cells, leading to a consequential loss in water greater in keto versus traditional, yet equalizes after glycogen is fully depleted, and the cells rely almost solely on ketones, fat metabolism. And thus, physiology explains nutrition. Anytime a person experiences a massive drop in weight, especially in the first week or 2 weeks, you can almost attribute it, or most of it at least, to glycogen loss. Not necessarily the actual loss of the molecule of glucose, the use of glucose, but that freeing of that glucose. That glucose as a glycogen, or in glycogen, is actually considered a UDP glucose, meaning an activated glucose. And when we go through that process of glycogenolysis, we release that glucose to then go down glycolysis and be used, or by the liver, then it can be sent out of the liver to maintain blood glucose levels. But when we do that, we also are reducing the amount of glucose that's in the cell, which also means that then the cell is going to have to get rid of water. So that's exactly what happens. We end up seeing massive losses in water. And of course, that's going to be dependent. If you're consuming glucose, that process will probably be considerably slower. But if you don't consume any glucose, like a ketogenic diet, that is going to be a really sharp drop in that water weight. Okay, well, with that said, of course, if you want to know more information, you can always check out the free article that's linked in the description box with my scientific references, as always, for you to read through. Okay, I will hopefully have the pleasure of seeing you in the very next video. Have a good one. See you guys.